This man's lust made him pull the trigger on his crush's boyfriend.
I'll admit she's pretty. Yes, it would be nice having sex with her, but I never thought. I mean, I thought about it, yes, but I wasn't gonna ask her.
Oh, no, that's a weird question to say you want to go back and have sex, but
yeah.
I mean.
But I didn't, like, I did thought about wanting to have sex with her, yes.
Sure.
22-year-old Josh was third-wheeling with Hannah and her date, 27-year-old Neil. After the trio hopped bars the entire night, Josh even tagged along with the couple to Hannah's house, where a fun night took a freakish turn.
Where's the gun?
Please help. The gun is in my room.
Come on, Neil.
Please help.
I'm inside.
Neil? Is the ambulance on their way?
They are.
I literally thought the gun was a flashlight because he was using it as a flashlight. We were looking for a cat and I saw that I was using a flashlight.
1911 to 1922. Bring your red bag in.
I literally thought it was a flashlight because he was...
Come over here.
Yes, sir. I hope I can...
Just one? Right
yes,
there?
One shot. I literally thought it was a flashlight, sir. Because he was using it as a flashlight.
It's a trigger, dude. It's a trigger. You have to...
Stay over there.
Yes,
Stay over there.
Yes, sir.
1911 CPR.
Oh my
in progress.
Is he still breathing? Is he still breathing?
I did not mean to.
I don't care. It was so stupid of you. Why would you ever grab a gun? It's not a toy.
I did not know.
Oh my God. It doesn't matter. It's his gun. He knows how to use it. You don't.
I didn't know he had a concealed
Oh
weapon.
my God.
I didn't know. I didn't know it was like actual weapon.
God, is he still breathing?
Nope.
Oh my God.
Yeah, CPR in progress. Gun is on the couch there. Shooter's right there.
I thought it was a flashlight at first because he was using it as a flashlight. And I did not know that Neil concealed a weapon. So I was unaware.
Josh seemed exceptionally composed as he tried to blame his victim for getting shot. Meanwhile, Neil, who was shot in his chest, was declared dead on arrival.
Get a confirmed DOA. I'll talk to the female as well.
Okay, sounds good. I'll talk to the I did not know that. I'm so sorry.
Can you do me a favor and get her started on a statement?
Yep.
Thank you.
I swear to God, I did not know it was a concealed weapon. I did not know he concealed a loaded weapon or anything like that.
Okay, I'm going to read you your rights though, okay?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to get you secured first and I'll read you the rights.
Yeah, we got a shooting with the death. He said it was accidental, but he's in custody right now. We have one witness and one DOA in an apartment.
I didn't even see it happen. I never saw him pick up the gun or anything because I had just turned away.
So you didn't physically see him like punch out, you know, with our gun we punch out, like...
Yeah, no, I never saw him grab the gun or point the gun. I just heard it and I was like, I didn't really understand what it was. I just felt the ringing in my ear.
Yeah.
And it almost felt like something like ricocheted.
How close would you say?
I was so close. Like, we were all so close. My kitchen is small. It's a small apartment. We were all in that small little kitchen. And I was already turned away, like, starting to walk the other direction. And then Neil started pulling behind me. And then he just fell down. And then there was blood everywhere.
You heard the bang. You turn around. And what do you see?
So at first I was still going the other direction and Neil was still behind me. He was behind me and it wasn't for like a minute later until I was like back in the kitchen where I saw all the blood everywhere and then Neil like fell to the ground.
I never went into the apartment, but did he get shot in the front or the back?
I don't know. He said the chest, but I don't know if it went through the front or the back, but I'm assuming the front.
Josh and Neil had engaged in some playful sparring where the latter had landed some better blows. Could it be that the shooting was not just an accident, but a deliberate act born out of jealousy?
I just don't understand if, like, he was mad that once they did the boxing, even though he wanted to start it, I know that Neil has a harder hit, but I saw it and it looked pretty even. Like, Neil went light on him. But I'm wondering if that made him mad. But it didn't seem like that because everything was fine afterwards. It would all happen in like a 5-minute time span.
No, so they box. They stop.
And then I messed around with Neil. I was like, okay, do me now. And Neil like playfully hit me in the stomach, like super light.
Yeah.
And I was like, harder. And then I turned around after that, and we were like going to start walking to the living room. and that's when it happened. And so I'm like, I don't really understand how he could think a gun is just a flashlight. The blood, like,
Was
in the
Josh?
kitchen.
That's his name, right, Josh?
I don't know. I asked him when I was on the phone with the police, and he said it's Josh.
Oh.
I know him, but I just don't know him that well.
Kind of.
Like, we've met at the bar like a couple of times.
Okay.
And he just asked if he could come over to my house so he could sober up for an hour, and then he was gonna go home. And I said,
Did he
yeah, sure,
drive
that's fine. No, Neil gave him a ride because he doesn't drive. He walks, and he just didn't want to walk home. He said he's going on like a day or 2 days without sleep, and so he's like, I'm just like drunk, I'm like low on sleep, like I just
Where were you
come
guys
sober
at?
up for an hour down at Creekside.
So you and Neil are there together.
Yeah, he came and picked me up probably at around 11 or 11:30, and then we went down together. He was already there. He came and got me. We went down, and then we're all hanging out there, and eventually Josh started hanging out with us, and then that's when he asked me to come back here, and I said, yeah, that's fine. Like, Neil can probably give you a ride home later.
A telephonic testimony given by one of the witnesses who saw the trio together at the bar sheds more light on their relationship dynamics and the probable intentions.
So I don't know any of them particularly well,
Okay.
but I wait on them, I'd say.
So you normally see they're what you would call maybe irregulars?
Yeah.
Okay. And do they usually come in together or do they usually hang out together?
Josh never hangs out really with anybody. This past weekend is the first time I think I've ever seen him hanging out with anyone.
Have you ever seen him hanging out with Hannah before in particular?
No. No.
Okay.
He is very quiet. He pretty much, he only ever has one cider. I think one time I've seen him drink 2 ciders, but that's it.
Uh-huh.
And he sits at the bar, and he's very quiet, and he doesn't talk to anybody. This past weekend, he did go hang out with Hannah. She is, like, very gregarious, or, like,
Outgoing?
appears that way. Yeah, she's very outgoing, and I think that she was trying to be very friendly to him.
Why did you decide to go to her place versus just giving her a ride home?
Well, like, I wanted to spend maybe a little bit more time hanging out with her because I don't hang out with her as much.
Got it. Okay. So you just wanted to spend more time with her.
Spend more time, and then in case if I got a little more tired, I would crash at her place.
Okay.
He had met Neil there, and I think they do have, like, a previous relationship.
You mean Neil and Hannah?
Neil and Hannah, yeah,
Okay.
but I definitely get the impression that, like, they probably had sex before and are friends.
Okay. And have you ever heard Josh express any kind of feelings about anybody in the bar or Hannah at all?
Yeah, he stares a lot, but it seems not like creepy, more like very observational.
Well, you told me before that you'd want to express your feelings for her.
I did, but I didn't want to, say that, oh, I want to date you.
Okay. Josh, what about Hannah? You said she's very outgoing, very gregarious. Would you maybe describe her as flirty?
She's very flirty.
Okay.
And she honestly, the night that happened, she and Neil had definitely been all over each other. And then at the very end of the night, I noticed her, like, she had invited Josh to play pool, and she was, like, started dancing with him, and I can see
dancing with Josh or dancing with Neil?
Dancing with Josh.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, that's kind of
so pretty, like, when you say dancing all over Josh, she was, like, pretty much like body to body kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
But nobody seemed upset. Like, Neil didn't look mad. Mm-hmm. They all left together. Everybody was smiling.
Okay. Did you see Hannah, like, making out with Josh at all, or just dancing?
I didn't see that.
Okay.
It wouldn't have surprised me.
Okay.
And I wasn't, I had a lot going on trying to get people to get out.
No, I totally understand. I was just asking if you had observed that. Yeah.
It seems like Josh saw Neil as an obstacle between him and Hannah, and shooting Neil seemed like the only way to get her.
You said that you guys were talking about experience fighting, but how did this conversation come up?
It just came out of the blue, just something that slipped out, I mean, knowing that I've gotten into a couple of fist fights in the past, I'd say he did better than me.
Sure, because it hurt, right?
It didn't hurt.
Or, no, you said it did hurt. It knocked the wind out of you.
It knocked me back, and I was kind of breathing a little hard.
Yeah.
For a little bit.
Yeah.
And then he kind of put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just a little winded out."
Yeah, sure. Okay.
So after pacing for a bit, I I looked down at the counter and then saw the gun. I was also curious on how the flashlight part of the gun worked, and so I wanted to like just flash him with it, you know, kind of because
So let's not go backwards from the progress we made last time. Okay, we've already established that was not the goal to flash him with the flashlight, right? Your goal was to pull the trigger and fire around. Okay, we talked about this last time, so let's not move backwards. We've already got that statement. Okay, I know that you picked up the gun with the intent of firing a bullet. Okay, it wasn't to flash him with the flashlight. We know that part was the lie, and I understand why you would do that. It makes sense to me, right? Self-preservation stuff. I get it, but let's not work backwards. Okay.
I don't know what was really going through my head at the time. I just picked it up and aimed it and fired it, you know, not like what was gonna happen, because like I said, I was tired. I wasn't really thinking clearly. I was up for 30 plus hours.
Okay. But there were other things going through your head too at the time, because you had just gotten punched again by this guy who's sleeping with a girl that you want to be sleeping with, if we're being honest, right?
No, I actually didn't want to be sleeping with her. I was just mainly friends with her. Yeah, I had a crush on her, but I just was strictly wanting to be just friends with her.
Officers also recovered several sex toys from his possession, including ball gags and dildos.
So we have your bag.
I would have thought so.
So tell me about the other stuff that's in there that you don't want to talk about.
I don't know if I had a dildo in there or anything else like that. I don't know what of a sex toy I had in there.
What do you use your sex toys for? I mean, for sex, obviously, but like, I mean, what are the circumstances?
Just if we were wanting to get a little, you know, frisky or kinky or whatever.
Okay, so maybe you're a little hopeful that you get to play with those with Hannah?
No, I never wanted to have sex with Hannah. I never had the thought process of having sex with her.
So explain that to me, because that one, I mean, we've all been attracted to people, and usually, like, if you're attracted to somebody, you want to have the physical experience.
I've thought about it, but I didn't actually want to do that because I've seen her flirting with other guys, and I'm like, having sex with her would be nice, but she is flirting with other dudes, so it probably wouldn't be worth it. I mean, she's pretty. I'll admit she's pretty and cute, but I mean, yes, it would be nice having sex with her, but I never thought twice about wanting to actually, you know, go back to her place and having sexual acts. Like, I mean, I thought about it, yes, but I wasn't gonna ask her.
Oh, no, that's a weird question to say you want to go back and have sex, but I mean.
But I didn't, like, yes, I did, like, I did thought about wanting to have sex with her, yes.
Sure. Right, and kind of like we talked about before, like, hey, if you had gotten back there and one thing led to another, you weren't going to tell her no, right? Yeah, that's, whatever toys are in the bag, why do you typically, I mean, I know you said, okay, in case there's a hookup, like, how often do you end up in a situation where you need a sex toy from your bag?
I just have it in there just in case if I was going to use it during my hookups, but after the last few that I've had, I haven't really used it.
Why is that?
Just never really had the thought of using it.
Josh was charged with assault, reckless endangerment, unlawful discharge of a firearm, and negligent manslaughter. His bail was set at $250,000. YouTube thinks you'll love the video on screen. Click to watch now.